Hi, everybody.
Hey, everyone. I'm Selena.
And this is One Hen, Two Ducks,
a grown-up theater kids podcast.
Hi, this is part 2 of our Art Unmasked series with casting professional Heather Washburn. Welcome back, Heather.
Thank you so much. Happy to be back.
I appreciate your patience with our technical difficulties and our scheduling. You've been a gem, and I know that, everyone's time is precious, so thank you for giving us some of your precious time.
I'm just going to say that casting people, all we do is schedule. So,
There you go.
Work with technological difficulties and schedule.
So last time where we left off, we were kind of talking about what it's like working in a casting office, how normally you kind of think that it's like a huge thing and there's people everywhere and everyone's doing jobs, but really it's only a couple jobs, like a couple people and a ton of jobs. And I think the last kind of thing you said was it feels like sometimes you're in a boat with a bunch of holes and you have to just keep covering up the holes in the boat, because there's always something new or something different that happens, and you have to kind of manage and balance all these schedules and reschedules and whatnot. It's nothing new that women in any workforce, the minute they kind of start getting more aggressive with their point of view or what they think should happen, they're kind of deemed as bossy. And I know this can't be something that is not happening as well in the theater industry, because it happens in every industry. How do you see some of your bosses who are female kind of handle this behavior, and how do you, moving forward, want to kind of change that narrative?
Ooh. I mean, I have been very lucky to work with some very wonderful women. I find that you're drawn to certain people, and everyone kind of becomes mentors to people. You find your little person and you ask them questions, and they help lead you along in this world, right? Because everything is so it's such a small world. Like, interviews are like more along the lines of like, oh, I know someone who's available because I'm not available, let me give you their information, right? So in New York especially, I feel like we're definitely trying to raise everyone up. There can be a boys club, right? With any industry. I think that when there are times when a woman may say something that, because she's sticking to her guns and she knows that her instinct is right. Let's call it maternal instinct, if you will. It can come off. I think that men sometimes have the ability to push women off in a certain way, or say something in a way, maybe belittling, that they necessarily wouldn't say if it were a male counterpart. I think the best way to counteract that is by sticking to your guns. Again, I like to think of like this little casting tree, and everything comes from the top down. And, the assistants will learn how the associate responds to things. The associate responds how the casting director will respond. And then you've got the interns, right? And they, like, right now, 2020 has been really hard. I don't know how they're doing it for young interns or for casting assistants who have never had the opportunity to work in an office. I'm not sure how they're necessarily learning office vibe. Like, we can get on Zooms, we can talk them through things, but they're just not getting that inner office experience, which is how you really learn. And I think watching top down and seeing how they respond to anything kind of being thrown at them, right? Like, at the end of the day, we're all a team. #team casting. And I think the way to grow is, by having strong leaders.
That's awesome. I think it's really, oh, for sure. I think I think that is kind of the thing, right? Is you have no other choice but to push through, but to keep going. And you can't be deterred if someone calls you bossy or someone makes a comment based on your,
I
you
mean,
know,
and with casting, we do what the producer, wants. So a lot of times it is, they'll say something and you say how high, jump, and you're like, okay, how high? At a certain point though, there comes a time when I have seen a boss, stand her ground and say like, actually, that's not right. We're not going to do it this way. Um,
right.
and I think it takes a lot of um, guts and strength in order to maybe stand your ground in such a male dominated um, the production industry. I would say is very still male dominated high up. I think women are coming up every day,
Hmm.
and you read Deadline and it's like, whoa, who's this new executive? That's cool. um and I think there's a lot to learn from them, right? And I would say to like any actors, or I guess I would say to actors, right? Like find your person who you resonate with and then like learn everything about them and what roles work for them, right? I would say the same for casting professionals or for agents. It's like find the person who you're inspired by, and learn their stuff and get to know who they are and like embrace everything that they do. Do um I had Ellen Lewis, who did The Irishman, one time. I was so scared of her. She's fantastic, and she pushed me, and I don't think I'd ever been pushed before in a way like
Right.
that. And it very much, she sat me down and was like, well, Heather, what do you want to do? And I
Ooh.
was so taken aback. I was like, what do you mean, what do I want to do? I want to do casting. Why? What? Like, I'm here. I don't get it. And then years late, I might have been a few years later, I had this aha moment where I was like, oh, she actually meant what kind of material do I want to be working on?
Mm.
Because certain people, you've got your Jen Hustons of the world, Ellen Lewis works, with Martin Scorsese, like Alexa Fogel does a lot of these like dark dramas, right? So is it comedy? Is it movies? Is it television? Like, what is it that you want to do? Um, and I feel like we kind of discussed it earlier. I have swayed to the darker, seedy underworld. I like love to Google, especially if there's like real knowledge behind it. But I think there are these women in our field, especially again in New York. I really only know the New York women, but that they really look for talent for their offices, and it's like
Mm.
pushing everyone up a hill. You can only be as successful as, I don't want to say our Winkus link, but the stronger your team, the stronger the product. And then the producers are
Mhm.
happy, everyone is happy, and we all get, a good outcome.
Nice. And I can imagine too that it's an important thing to know as well, because once you figure out your niche of where you want to be as a casting person, and you kind of come up into this industry and you are in this position of power to kind of pick and choose people to put in front of your client, essentially, that then you kind of have the ability to put forward what they're asking, but then also something else to give them a broader range of where this could go. And you have to be able to kind of be there and be the voice that kind of says, like, no, trust me, you need to see this person. They're not what you're looking
Well,
for, but there's something that could be what you're looking for.
I mean, I think one of the funnest stories about that is that Dr. Bailey in Grey's Anatomy wasn't written to be a black woman. That was
Yeah.
originally meant to be a white man. And they kept seeing people and they kept seeing people. And they saw hundreds of people, right? And it just, something wasn't right. And the casting director was like, but let's try something else,
Yeah.
um, and cue Miranda Bailey. Um, and then here is Chandra Wilson, right? And she really became this like predominant, one of the more exciting characters to me on Grey's Anatomy. And that took a casting director saying, here's a new idea, let's go with it. You know, I think what are your thoughts, right? Because someone could turn around and be like, no, that we're not doing that. And you're like, okay, you know, worth a shot. But yeah, I think it's important that you know who your creative team is, you know, and like a lot of the times these casting directors have these relationships with their creative teams. They've known them for years and they work with them on projects, and it's kind of like, it would be like, you know, you picking up the phone with your best friend and being like, okay, time to do something new. And it's, you know, like, I know your taste, so like, cool, let's see what we can come up with. But also, you know, I think what's great about casting is that we are constantly watching TV, constantly watching movies, constantly reading articles. You know, I have a best friend who's an agent, and she calls me, like, it's fun for her on 4th of July weekend to show me videos of her new talent that she just signed, you know, and she's picking up the phone being like, try this person. Like, that's what my Friday night is listening to my friend, like, show me videos of people. And it's like, okay,
that's awesome.
You know, we're doing this. But also, you know, then we may see that person, and then that person may get hired. And like, it happened on a Friday night, you know, maybe while I was drinking a seltzer, but like, at the end of the day, we all win, you know? So we're seeing new people constantly. There are new people coming into this world, and everything is evolving, and it's exciting for us to put that world together. You know, I think oftentimes people ask me what my most favorite part of the job is, right? And I think getting that cast list, and it could be someone that you have been fighting for, you know, you bring them in for everything, and they never quite get it, and they never get it, and then all of a sudden you see that that's the name that they're going for, and it's like I know I've gotten up from my chair and had a dance party for, and it was like a co-star role, right? Like a one-liner, but I didn't care. This person comes in all the time, has a great energy, great attitude, and now they're about to be on set for the first time. It's fantastic. Love that.
I feel like I remember us having a conversation many moons ago about Cynthia Erivo and how she had just done Harriet, and you were kind of part of the group that had to, like, that was considering bringing her in for The Outsider, on HBO?
Mm-hmm.
HBO.
Yes, HBO.
And I remember you kind of being like, she was good in Harriet, right?
Well, because I hadn't seen Harriet.
That's right. And you were like, she's good, right?
Terrible.
She's going to be able to do this, right? And I was like, yeah, she's great.
I mean, I loved the idea of, she's such this oddball, but like this strong, powerful woman, right? But when, you know, musical theater nerds think of Cynthia, you think of Color Purple and those insane performances, right? But then, you know, like, looking at the role Holly Gibney for The Outsider, it was like, oh, she could do this, right? Like, Holly is a super smart woman. I think she's a PI, a private investigator. But she counts things. She constantly is, like, she knows all of her surroundings. And also, if you haven't seen The Outsider, it's not really giving anything away, but, you know, you're dealing with Stephen
spoilers
King,
anyway.
So you're dealing with Stephen King, so like there's a bigger unknown, and she has to come into this tiny town in Oklahoma, or I think they ended up shooting it. I think they ended up calling it Georgia, but she comes into this tiny, you know, community and basically says, like, I know I sound crazy, but like, you have to believe me.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, it became a physical role. And like, I remember her agent sent over like a workout video. And it's just her
Of
working
her
out.
exercising. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I am like, I am in awe of what this human can do. Like, she's,
She like on her social media will do like videos of her on the Peloton in the morning or on the treadmill, and I'm always just like, is there anything you can't do? Like,
no, the answer
she's
is no.
perfect in every
She's
way.
perfect. Yes.
It's just,
Yeah.
and yet somehow like everything about her makes me just sob. She's so talented and her voice is beautiful and
And
she's
her
gorgeous, and so
performances
I
are
just want to
always
sob.
fantastic. I
Always,
mean,
always.
like, I don't
I
know
just
how
want to
one person
cry.
can be. Yeah, I know. I mean, I have like a big like talent crush on her. She's fantastic. I was trying to Google her last 5 years concert that I didn't get to see,
Oh,
and you can't find it anywhere on YouTube. So,
is it
I
not?
mean, maybe you can,
What?
but
Okay,
I have
I'm gonna see if I
struggled
can
to
find it.
find it.
I'm gonna see if I can find it. I'm gonna send it to you because I
Because
feel like
I
I've.
was like super late on the last 5 years kick.
Oh
Like when
yeah.
I get stressed out, I love, like while I'm working, I love to just listen to the last 5 years. It's a great little story. And in the time of COVID, I really think that we could be seeing a lot of last 5 year productions.
Hello, hello. Yes. Anything that's like for people. I love you. Perfect now. No, I love you. Perfect now. Change. That's a four person.
Mm,
No.
that one is.
Yes.
That one is. Yeah,
That's the
that
dating
one's
one.
tiny. That's the dating one, which is
Two,
super cute.
two boys, two girls. I think that I
Yeah.
thought that could go over well, and I feel like people could do that more. We're getting off topic, but still
So off topic.
so off topic, but still good things to talk about. Um, here's something that like I feel like women in the workforce is nothing new, right? This has been going on now for decades. But still somehow there is that pressure that you have to put your career ahead of anything else in your personal life. Getting married, having children if you want them, getting married if you want it, taking time off to even just go on vacation, taking time off to, do anything. Sometimes it's hard to feel like you're going to have to say no to contracts and say no to opportunities. And that has not changed yet at all, right? That's still something that
Yeah.
women live with every day in the workforce, no matter what work they do, whether it be in casting or in entertainment in general, or, in stocks and private equity stuff. Like it's hard to make time for yourself because you want so badly to kind of prove something. And I know you have worked with some incredible women who I feel like don't back down from anything. And I think it's really great to hopefully have those women as like inspiration to be like, listen, if I need to take a couple weeks off here, I have to do it. You know what I mean? Do you feel sometimes that you have that pressure a little bit in the back of your head that says you can't take time off?
I don't take time off. I look at I look at just the entertainment in film and TV takes like a 2 week kind of hiatus around the holidays, right? So it's usually like December 20th, right, through like whatever January 3rd is, and I'm like, if you want to see me, that is the time. Otherwise,
Right.
that means I'm unemployed. And I'm not, I don't love that. I mean, listen, there are times and we have situations where, people do get married, people do, and so you do the best that you can.
Mm.
But I think until the industry changes how we run a little bit, I don't foresee that shifting anytime soon, right? Like if
Yeah.
you're on a production, that production runs this time and you have to be available.
Right.
In the future, do I hope that like maybe all of us can respect one another's time. You know, like I clearly live in New York. You know, I live in New York. Please don't send me emails if you live on the West Coast at 11 o'clock at night. Like, keep in mind where everyone lives. I try not to bother you before work hours.
Yeah.
So I hope that that type of stuff can shift for sure.
Do you
And I
think like
do.
sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, do you think that, because this is a COVID specific like kind of question, like now that things are like a lot of things have had to be work from home, even casting things. Do you think that that is maybe the first step in seeing like, okay, we don't need everyone in the office. If people can work from home, maybe people can make time for
I
having
think that
more of a personal life.
I think that we can, you know, understand that maybe I go work from my parents' house for a week and I work on New York time. I don't need to be glued to my desk and we can all figure it out. I think that is something. You know, I do have to say though that with COVID, it has felt hard at times because people expect you to be at your house and available every second of the day. Um,
Right.
I saw a friend, she's an agent, but she posted something on social media that was like, hey, like, we're actually on holiday break. Like, can we respect one another's boundaries? You know, a
Right.
lot of, you know, I started getting, people are like email or texting people now. Like, it should be because they have people's cell phone numbers. So now, like, certain people will text
Mm.
someone, and it's like these boundaries kind of have crossed in a weird way. And I feel like at times I'm working more or like at weirder hours than I ever, you know, it used to be like I'd leave the
Would have.
office and I would be
Yeah.
done. I'd be at the office
So
late,
I guess it's
but
kind of like that. It's that like rose and thorn at the same time, where it's like it's a
hmm
good thing because you're home, you're able to be home and
I'm
kind
able
of
to
be
cook my
around,
dinner, but
yeah, be around family, you know, be like working from your parents' house and like going to see them. You know, those are all great things, but then you also have the expectation that you are there all the time and that you can just answer whenever, you know, anything happens. So
and
still
like
some work
we
to do for
casting
sure.
people are really that way. You know, if there's an emergency with the show, like we're the first call. You know, and we drop effort.
Yeah.
I have taken to bringing my laptop with me when I leave the house because you just never know when you need to be on it. Um, Again, I hope that maybe that shifts in the future,
Yeah.
but I think with us knowing how technology works, it may not. I mean, it could be
Yeah.
that the younger generation decides finally that like we can take a pause, but you know, work life balance is not the easiest. But actors can
Not the
say the same
easiest.
thing, you know, like
Yeah.
when it's about a job that, you know, it's like it could be like your best friend's, you know, um,
Wedding.
wedding. And if you get a job and that wedding isn't on a Monday, well, shoot,
Yeah, you
you
can't
know, what
go.
do you do?
Yeah.
And I know so
Yeah.
many people that have missed out on life events because of that show that they needed to be in. Because at the end of the day, it's what you always want to do, and it's hard to say no. I mean, hopefully you can carve out the dates. Hopefully you can get
Yeah.
that day off. But
It's also like a
man, it's tough.
paycheck and your sustainability sometimes, you know. It's
The
hard. It's
entertainment
not always
industry
just
doesn't
like a
stop.
fun thing.
It just keeps. I
Doesn't
mean,
stop.
well, I mean, I shouldn't say that, but the good news is it feels like it keeps rolling on. And once it picks back up, I know for theater, I think I'm desperate to get back into the theater. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't
I
wait.
feel I can't wait. I really like I want it to be like something that is like, okay, it's gonna happen this, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back. Like you and I should go together. We should get some tickets, some just anything. I'll see anything at this point, and just go and sit and just like cry together because you know I'm gonna be bawling. I know you'll be
No, I'm gonna
bawling,
cry.
and I
I'm
know
gonna.
that there are certain individuals in our lives that probably wouldn't sit there with us while we were crying our eyes out about theater being back. Just saying.
No, that's okay. Leave them at home.
Leave them at home. On to something a little bit happier, sort of. Casting sometimes can be a little bit like, how am I going to say this? Casting can be a little bit thankless at times. Yes, like there have been moments where actors will get up on stage and thank the casting directors or thank the casting associates and agents that help them get to be in a position where, you know, they could be in a really great movie or show or anything like that. What has been some of your highlights of casting? What are some of your prouder moments that you've done?
I mean, definitely, I think for me, The Irishman was so big. I mean, that was my first movie. I didn't quite understand what was happening, you know, and then like we discussed earlier, I was bringing in all these guys who never would have told you that they were actor or, you know, never even had an inkling of being an actor, right? And then, you know, they're on set with Scorsese and De Niro, and to this day they'll still text me and be like, I got a residual check, and like, thank you, like, this is crazy. And like, I'm like, it's crazy too, like, for me, because again, like, I didn't have any set, like, you had a good look, you came in, you did the work, you auditioned, and they liked your look, and like, then you made it to set. Like, that one is such a weird little nugget, but like, I definitely know I watched that movie like 4 times in like a month. It was a lot. And I think I cried like every time. I mean, there's gotta, I have very fond memories in my heart of the Deuce. Just the fast pace of it, the storytelling. I mean, it's New York City in its grimiest, you know, and the writers were fantastic, and the storyline over 3 years, I did the last 2, but it was a beautiful story, and it was so exciting to open up the script every week and see what new crazy things we were being, you know, thrown at us. Yeah. I mean, that story is just New York City again, like 1970s and 1980s. You know, and it's hard to say that now we're not drawing a parallel. It's not correct. Like, you walk through Midtown and I'm like, well, wow, this is what I looked at. I looked at these stories of people's hardships in the 70s and the 80s, and during an epidemic. That was the AIDS crisis. Dr. Fauci, you know, we read about in season 3, we talked about Dr. Fauci, I think, on the show. I did research on him. So to then 2 years later have him on my television screen, you know, saying very scary things, I was like, uh-oh, this can't be good. Like, I didn't grow up knowing who Dr. Fauci is. What is happening?
Wait a minute. Wait a
like,
minute, I know this guy.
I know this guy and I don't want to. You know, and then I have to say, oh, well, The Lion King was so near and dear to my heart. I didn't do much with it, but I did do these massive open calls held at the Apollo, and to start from zero and get to an open call where you have almost 1,000 people getting seen that day. I did it 2 years in a row, and it felt like
That's
running
amazing.
a marathon. But when you see these little kids that like come in and they, you know, have a day where they play, you know, my job, I felt, was to make it enjoyable for all parties. That's a long time to sit as a parent, as a guardian, as a child. Right. But some of these kids' dreams were made that day. You know what I mean? Nice. Like, all of a sudden you find someone and they're spectacular, and now they're on Broadway, you know, as a 12-year-old. And they're just full of hope. So definitely The Lion King. And the prom was fun, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm like this crazy musical theater nerd, you know, wanted to maybe do that, and then was like, I like brownies too much. Maybe I should try to go on the other side because this diet thing isn't working out for me. And then realizing like, oh, I keep working on this project. Okay, cool. And then having it come full circle to a movie adaptation of what I was just talking to a friend the other day about the prom. I was like, man, I'll never forget. I got a ticket on TDF. I had no idea what I was going to see. And I left the theater in awe, just like crying. I was shocked about the prom. I was like, because they didn't advertise it. I saw it during previews. Yeah. It wasn't advertised. Some people left, and I don't think they left because they didn't think it was not a talented group of people. But I loved the story, and so to get to work on the movie, watching it, I cried more than I wanted to say that I would. I cried more than I wanted to admit.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I think those. I mean, you have a fond memory of every little project, right? Like everything that you do, unless it's a bad experience, which were hard. Some are hard and you're tired, but
yeah.
Most of my shows, they're little nuggets, and I have little mental shoeboxes of moments of these productions and the people I got to work with and the actors that we got to see.
And you got to go to Olympia Dukakis' house.
Well, that was a whole different story. that was with my agency world when I had just been an intern.
Yeah.
And I came I was like, we have to get this done. And I got so tired of the courier service messing up that I just said, like, okay, fine. I'm just going to go to her house and have her sign it. And, looking back, I'm like, I still to this day don't know how I did that. But I was in her house, yes.
It's still incredible. And I'm still forever jealous of that moment.
I'm still so sad that I knew deep down I needed to get back to the office. Even after they offered me a cup of coffee, I should have sat there and had the coffee.
Sat there.
Slapping myself on the wrist every time. I'm like, man, that phone could have waited to ring a little longer.
At least you called me right when you left, and you're like, you're never gonna believe whose house I just left.
I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. To this day, I think I forget about it. But that was the can-do attitude.
Yeah.
How do you get something done? You strap up your shoes and you go. Figure it out. That's what casting people do. It is I often make jokes, but I'm pretty serious about it, where if there's a problem, just put a group of entertainment people together. It will be solved.
Yeah.
It will be solved. Don't worry. We'll have a backup plan and probably a plan behind that.
There you go.
Brilliant. Come on.
We get it done. We get it done quickly and efficiently.
Absolutely. Long hours, fine. What's a long hour? Actors do your 12 out of 10 out of 12s or...
Yeah, that's nothing.
I don't understand that. I don't understand why you can't get a self-tape done while you're in tech rehearsal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, unless, literally, I think the only way that wouldn't work is if you were like Ava in Evita and you're always on stage. That's the only time that wouldn't work.
People are like, they're in their tech week. I'm like, and? No.
If they're Valjean in Les Mis. If they're Ava in Evita.
You might need an extension on that self-tape.
And I mean, hey, if you're a casting person and you're getting self-tapes, and you said yourself, there was a viral video that kind of happened recently where it's a guy and he's doing a self-tape and his cat keeps jumping up on him. And it's really cute. And it's really funny because he can't get through his slate without the cat like biting him or jumping up on him or like running into him, you know what I mean? So it is kind of nice when you have these probably little moments of personality that you get to know the actor a little bit too. It doesn't
Listen,
have to
if you
just
have
be
a
so
cat,
clinical
like
all the time.
at a certain point, it's, I mean, because the people watching it, like, we're all real people too, right? So,
Yeah.
like, professionalism, yes, absolutely. If you finally nail that, like, slate, you get it, great. And then if there's, like, a little extra clip nugget of just your cat coming into the clip every time, I mean, like, I can't tell you how many times, we're on a Zoom call and all of a sudden my cat is like meowing or trying to walk across the screen, and it's like that's we all like we're all working from home right now. We all are working with you know, these crazy experiences, and at a certain point, like someone's internet might not be good that day.
Yeah.
You can do your best to be prepared for it. You can shut your door and hope that your dog isn't going to bark. But, like, if your dog has anxiety
Yeah.
issues, I don't know. Tape with your dog.
Sometimes tape with your dog. Yeah, I think that's going to be, I think, the new thing moving forward, especially post-COVID, is like, yes, you still should maintain this level of professionalism and punctuality and things like that. Like, there's no excuse for not being professional, but I think you could let a little more of your own personality shine through instead of being what you think someone wants you to be or being like the perfect little actor
half the
box
time
of like
we
who you
don't
want to
know
be.
what we want you to be. You know what I mean? We want you to be your authentic self.
Yeah.
And if that authentic self is what resonates with everyone, then like great. But you got that job because you did the work and you didn't put on a show of something that, it wasn't too much. It was you. Do the
Right.
work. Always do the work. Be prepared. I mean, there's a big difference from an actor who knows the lines versus one who is completely in the page.
Right.
We love to see your eyes. you know? Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, but if you know the material as well as you can, if you know the material, then you can put your good work into it.
Right.
And there's just like I don't understand how it happens, but there's just, you can see it. You watch the tape and you go, that's nice.
Yeah.
And like, if you need another take, do another take. Ask us.
Yeah.
Hey, can I do one more? I actually didn't like that one too much. Yeah, great. Let's go. Like, we're here to be your biggest supporter. Like, I used to feel like, I don't know, in like musical theater school, I was so scared if like my piano start did, like, if not everything lined up at the moment, and I always felt like I can't say, I just fight through it,
Yeah.
And I guess with film and TV, I mean, if you flub the line here or there a little bit, push through, right? But
Right.
if you've completely mucked it up, probably 9 out of 10 times I would say we're hoping to get your best take. So we'd say like, hey, like, let's try again. No worries, let's try.
Yeah.
Cut. That tape goes away, right?
Yeah.
Luckily with TV, we upload the tapes, and if like something was weird at the end, good news, I can cut it out. There's someone going like, how do we edit? Like, I think I edited one time. It was like it was like an encore. So it was musical theater, and she kind of like stopped weird in the middle of the song, but it was on tape. And I distinctly remember figuring out how to edit it all together to send off,
Nice.
so that it all sounded like one little thing, right? We learn how to edit a little.
Skills. You got some skills.
Skills that I never knew. I'm like,
I never knew I needed these skills.
Computer editing. Who knew that in 2020 that started before 20? Who knew in the 2000s we need computer editing capabilities?
Well, Heather, You have been such a delightful guest. I have a little bit of wine here. I don't know if you have something special. I have a little bit of wine, and I would like to make a little toast. Yes, cute. What did that say?
This says it's not drinking alone if the cat is at home. And the good news
That's
is
adorable.
we have a very blonde kitty that lives here full time. So I am never alone.
Sweet cat. There you go. But I would like to make a little toast to you, not just because it's Women's History Month, and thank you for being on our show and having this kind of moment with us to celebrate. Granted, at the end of Women's History Month, it's still, celebrating women in positions of power and celebrating, women in the workforce and whatnot, and how we deserve, equal pay and equal work and all this kind of stuff. But also, I personally, on a personal level, as someone who has known you since college, and has seen you grow from your first internship, where you would come home crying every day because you didn't know if you could handle it. And, seeing you over the years.
Life is hard.
That office life is hard. That Starbucks order was hard.
Life is hard.
Ordering all these Starbucks is crazy. But
how many cups can you carry?
Exactly. Can I get a thing, please? Can I get a cup holder thing? But watching you grow from being an intern and kind of a terrified intern to being a casting professional in New York City and really owning your own space and really seeing you blossom into being this kind of confident, controlled person. I just want to say, for me, I am incredibly proud of you and very inspired by you. And I just want to thank you for all the work you do behind the scenes that you don't get enough credit for. So thank you so much, Heather.
Well, thank you. And thank you for having this fantastic podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's been so fun listening to, truly. Like, who's going to be on next? What are we talking about? Okay.
Who's going to be on next? What are we going to talk about next? Who knows? Who knows?
Dun,
we'll
dun,
see.
dun.
But I just wanted to.
What's the next TikTok
dun,
fun?
dun, dun.
No. Yeah.
Oh gosh, TikTok. That's a whole other thing of like, it's so hard. I'm so old. It takes so much patience and I just don't have it.
And I don't understand. I may know how to edit a reel down, but I don't, and compress a tape to upload it, but I just don't think I can figure out this TikTok.
It's hard. You know what? We'll give it a shot when I'm in New York next. We'll try to do a trend or two, and we'll try to see if it works. Thank you again, Heather Washburn. I really appreciate you being here and taking the time to speak with us, and we are excited to see what you do next.
Thanks.